Hi rabbits, Research Turtle here. Today we are decoding the B in BRICS. When we look at the shifting global order, it's easy to get fixated on the giants. With China's $19 trillion economy and India's rapid ascent, you might ask, is Brazil just a legacy letter in the acronym? But the data tells a different story. Brazil isn't a junior partner in a Sino-centric alliance, it is the indispensable keystone holding the entire structure together. We are moving beyond the lazy anti-Western label to understand Brazil as a non-Western reformist, the democratic anchor of the global South. Let's look at the economic reality. Brazil is a hidden heavyweight. While it's overshadowed by China, its GDP of over $2.3 trillion actually surpasses Russia and rivals G7 nations like Italy and Canada. But it's not just about size, it's about function. Unlike Russia, which is sanctioned, or China, which is embroiled in trade wars, Brazil is the stable investment destination. It functions as the risk hedge of the bloc. This stability is backed by undeniable hard power: food. There is a geopolitical maxim that says, war is in the north, food is from the south. BRICS nations control nearly half the world's soy and wheat, but Brazil is the dominant supplier to China and the primary alternative to U.S. reliance. Thanks to the Cerrado Miracle, transforming savanna into breadbasket, Brazil has secured its status as an agri-food superpower. But the vision goes beyond commodities. It's about the energy transition. If you look at the energy mix of Russia, China, and India, it's still heavily dominated by oil and coal. Brazil stands in stark contrast as the green energy hub, with over 60% of its power coming from hydro and a massive biofuels sector. They aren't just exporting fuel. Through initiatives like the Global Biofuels Alliance, they are exporting the energy transition standard to the rest of the world. This green leadership extends to the tech war, specifically in critical minerals. Brazil holds the keys to non-Chinese, non-Western supply chains for batteries. We are seeing the rise of the Lithium Valley, a top 5 global exporter and a strategic logistical grid connecting to Bolivia. In fact, Brazil orchestrated Bolivia's 2024 partnership to integrate the world's largest lithium reserves into this grid, effectively locking down the battery supply chain. Now, how does this translate to geopolitics? Brazil operates under a doctrine of active non-alignment. They refuse the binary choice between the U.S. and China. They are pragmatic, maintaining trade with Beijing while preserving democratic values and security cooperation with the West. Brazil acts as the strategic balancer, not a swing state. We saw this role in action recently with the Venezuela veto. When China and Russia supported Venezuela's admission to BRICS, Brazil slammed on the brakes. Why? To defend democratic principles and refuse importing bilateral instability. This proves Brazil is the brake pedal on Chinese dominance, ensuring BRICS remains a multilateral forum rather than becoming an ideological camp. This nuance is also visible in security. Instead of anti-NATO aggression, Brazil focuses on the South Atlantic. Through the CBERS satellite program with China, they provide free crop monitoring data to Africa, and through the IBSAMR naval drills with India and South Africa, they secure the ocean without engaging in great power conflict. Looking ahead, 2025 is set to be the super year of convergence. Brazil holds a dual mandate, the BRICS presidency and hosting COP30 in Belém. This is the geopolitical engine meeting the climate engine. The goal is to use the BRICS chair to drive the climate agenda, strengthening global South cooperation for inclusive governance. The agenda is ambitious, reforming the system. Brazil is pushing for a permanent seat on the UN Security Council and financial sovereignty through the new development bank, led by Dilma Rousseff. They are targeting 30% local currency lending and developing BRICS Pay to reduce sanctions risk. On the climate front, they are demanding realized contributions from the global north for the Amazon Fund. Perhaps most importantly, Brazil is offering a new deal for the global south. Unlike China's infrastructure loans, Brazil offers policy transfer, like its zero hunger programs and agri-tech. The rhetoric is powerful, repaying the historical debt to Africa with knowledge, not debt, positioning the bloc as a force for human development. However, there are headwinds. The Trump factor looms large, with potential tariffs and hostility toward de-dollarization. There is also domestic fragility, the risk of becoming a raw material vassal to China, and the danger of diplomatic overstretch, attempting to solve global conflicts while facing fiscal challenges at home. So, what is the verdict? Without Brazil, BRICS risks becoming an authoritarian, anti-Western bloc, but with Brazil, it becomes a representative voice of the global South. Brazil is the soft power engine and the democratic bridge essential for the group's long-term viability. Brazil is no longer just the country of the future. In 2025, it is the architect of the present. That's it for today. Turtle out.